August 25th, 2002. Nelly is dominating the top 10. Spider-Man had reinvented what a superhero movie could be a few months prior. Super Smash Bros. Melee was tearing up the GameCube, and Super Mario Sunshine was ready to release in America the next day. The world was about to witness the beginning of some of the biggest franchises ever to grace the PlayStation 2, as Kingdom Hearts, which had already launched in Japan, and Sly Cooper would release their first installments in September, while Ratchet & Clank was soon to follow in November. Billy Ray Cyrus is celebrating his 41st birthday. And, less than a year after the first game's release, Super Monkey Ball 2 launches for the GameCube in North America. 3 months before Japan, strangely enough, which seems to indicate just how much more successful that first game was over here, as opposed to its home country. The franchise was still riding high on the success of that first game at this point. Super Monkey Ball 2 had been shown off at E3 2002 to what, I swear to God, better have been a thunderous applause. I couldn't actually find any footage of Sega's conference that year, but when it got brought up at Nintendo's conference, well...
I'm sure as you all know, Mr. Nakoshi from Sega is the creator of Super Monkey Ball and Daytona USA. And I understand that you're almost done with Super Monkey Ball 2. Ooh. Actually, you'll be able to play it on the show floor tomorrow, so I hope everybody will check it out.
But given the glowing reviews it received immediately following its release, as well as the cult status it continues to enjoy to this very day, I think it's fair to say that the game certainly lived up to whatever hype it had going for it. The core gameplay, and, indeed, the engine, remains largely the same. The only difference I could spot is that the camera is pulled a bit further back, coming from a slightly higher angle, and I didn't even notice that until my friend Jeff Compass told me and I did a side-by-side comparison. To recap, that core gameplay is dead simple. The game only uses the analog stick, and you use it to tilt the stage and try to move your monkey to this goal without falling off of said stage. But the scope of the game has been expanded by a pretty significant margin. Not only do the original 6 side modes return, this time all grouped under party games instead of also separating some into a minigame category, but the number is doubled, meaning that there are now 12 of them. In addition, while the standard arcadey gauntlet of floors you can take on at 3 different difficulty levels is still here, now called Challenge Mode, the main attraction is now the game's Story Mode. Clearly, they were really proud of this addition, given the narrator's enthusiasm. This story mode naturally comes with a plot, so please, allow me to summarize. So there's this island, Jungle Island, where all the monkeys live happily together, until someone turns the brightness on the TV down slightly. That nefarious gamer is named, get this, Dr. Badboon. He flies in with a particularly evil-looking blimp one day and declares that all the bananas on the island are his, and that the monkeys at Jungle Island would better like him because otherwise they'll starve. I guess that's fair. I mean, I don't see any other nuts, fruits, seeds, flowers, birds, small lizards, insects, or spiders on this island. Which is also fair. Can you imagine if the GameCube had tried to render each individual mosquito? Anyways, our heroes won't stand for the theft of what is apparently their only food source, and so they go on a quest to stop him, which is apparently done by shouting nonsense chants that occasionally rhyme, magically flying around somehow, and of course, reaching the goals of various mazes by tilting the floor. Fun fact about that nonsense chant that I picked up on, every time they do it in the story, which is to say every single cutscene ever, they finish it with, magical spell is AiAi poo. So, what is AiAi poo? Well, a lot of people actually don't know because the reference was lost in translation. AiAi poo is actually the name of the original intro song for the first game, which plays on the title screen of the Japanese version. It was removed and replaced in international versions, which means that this reference is completely lost. So why do they say it here? I have no earthly idea. Nor do I know why it's suddenly a magic spell. Scientists are still baffled to this day. Anyways, after we get that bit of exposition, we are thrust into a world select screen with the single most adorable thing I have ever seen as our selection icon. There are 10 floors in each world, and you have to complete all of them in order to move on to the next one and obtain the sweet reward that is another story cutscene. There are a couple key differences in how this functions when compared to the main mode of the original game. For one thing, you can only play as AiAi. Why? They're all there, canonically, in the story. There is literally zero reason not to give the choice. I want to play as Mimi. Mimi is my main. Speaking of Mimi, Dr. Badboon wants to not only steal the bananas, but also marry Mimi. Ooh boy. Not only does she have a husband, but she has a child. Not sure if that got retconned or if he just doesn't know, because Badboon always refers to our group of monkeys as AiAi and his friends, even though Gongon is the only one that's not a member of his family. Maybe he just doesn't know. I want to cut the guy some slack here. He's been hitting the old YouTube a little hard, and the autoplay's been leading him down a dark path, and before he knew it, he was a misogynistic criminal. Happens to the best of us. Another difference from the main mode of the previous game is that before, you had a very limited number of lives and continues, meaning that you had to be very careful about what strategies you tried in order to keep your monkeys safe. Here? Nah, son. Throw caution to the wind and monkeys to the walls. Unlimited lives and no continues required. Part of what I like about this system is that it means you can really experiment with how you're supposed to beat a stage in the middle of a run, instead of having to retreat back to practice mode to do that. It also means that the designers can throw tougher stages at you than before without it feeling unfair or cruel. After all, you can just keep plunking away at them for as long as you want. I do miss the immediate thrust back into the action after dying though. Now it's broken up either by the game asking you if you want to try again, or a frantic retreat to the pause menu to hit retry before your monkey falls out of sight. So, instead of picking a difficulty and marathoning 10, 30, or 50 stages at a time, respectively, you complete stages in sets of 10 at your leisure, being able to freely pick which one you want to play, and not having to worry about doing it all in one sitting because of the save functionality. After each set of 10, each world, you're rewarded with another story cutscene and a new locale for the next world to take place in. The level theming for each world is exquisite too, by the way. It almost feels like it keeps getting more imaginative as the game goes on. You've got the usual jungle, of course, but also an amusement park, the inside of a whale, a fucking goddamn washing machine. Look at this 2002 looking thing. So good. So good. The theming is a lot more interesting than that of the original game and has a lot more attention to detail. Something that I didn't even notice until well past the halfway point of my run through is how the goalpost in each world actually has a unique design, which is an amazing touch that shows the level of care and attention that went into this game. I also love how meta some of these stages can get, especially in the latter part of the game. We've got Sega branded circuit boards in the background, in addition to some entire stages going all in on the weirdness. Like there's one that's just the URL to the Amusement Vision website, there's one that's just the Amusement Vision logo, and my personal favorite, literally a GameCube. I really miss that brief period where a game would just include the console it's on as a stage. Mario Kart Double Dash and DS did this too. It's so charming. It's especially interesting that this happens in Monkey Ball 2, considering that it's a third-party game, but that just makes it even cooler in my opinion. Since I brought it up, I want to briefly touch on the graphics and aesthetic of this game, which I neglected to talk about much in my video on its predecessor. Super Monkey Ball's graphics are simple, cute, cartoonish, and to the point. Nothing terribly flashy, but they're very aesthetically pleasing and scream early 2000s arcade game, even after the console version cleaned them up. Super Monkey Ball 2 looks much the same, running on the same engine and reusing multiple assets, notably the character models and the checkerboard floors. It does go a step further, however. A lot of the game just looks brighter in some way, with more polished graphics and an even more pronounced cartoon aesthetic in a lot of the worlds, notably in the amusement park. I really like this because not only do the brighter environments look lovely and suit the style of the game, but the darker looking worlds are perhaps even darker than anything out of the original game, which really helps to provide a nice contrast and keep every environment memorable. The graphics are far from the only thing that's evolved. The level design has taken an interesting shift as well. The first Super Monkey Ball game focuses largely on precision platforming. The only stage obstacles you really need to worry about are bumpers and the occasional moving floor. Super Monkey Ball 2, on the other hand, adds all sorts of stage obstacles to the mix. In addition to retaining the bumpers and moving floors, there's conveyor belts, spinning tops, wormholes, and, most importantly of all, switches. Switches are used consistently throughout the adventure and perform perform various functions, mostly relating to the movement of platforms. They can make them start moving, stop moving, move faster, move slower, and god damn it, the switches add a whole new dynamic of timing and control to the game, making the stages a bit more complex and meaning that you need to think a little bit harder on a lot of them. That's another thing I noticed about the level design actually. Super Monkey Ball 1 isn't exactly the type of game where you have to put a lot of thought into your strategy. It's all about the execution. Like, it's not like you don't know how to get across this tiny tightrope walk. It's more about having the precision to make it happen. Super Monkey Ball 2 still has plenty of that. Look at something like Double Spiral. But the game features a lot more stages that you have to think about a little more deeply, especially in the later worlds, which is a very welcome layer of complexity. In fact, the game is so much more ambitious that it actually suffers the occasional frame rate drop. It's weird to say, but it's true. I noticed it a bit on levels like Hierarchy, even on real hardware. I think it's commendable, however, that these frame rate drops are so small and uncommon that they have no noticeable impact on gameplay. If anything, the only reason they stick out so much is because of how I'm so used to Monkey Ball keeping a rock solid 60 FPS at almost all other times. But hey, if you're not feeling this new way of playing, you know, picking one level out of 10, infinite tries, story cutscenes, or even if you just want a quick burst of Monkey Ball, then you can actually choose to play a lot of the same levels in the same manner as the original game. Now called Challenge Mode, this turns Monkey Ball 2 into a much more straightforward sequel to the original game, and I love it. While I think that Story Mode is fantastic, and I prefer it sometimes, there's just something so satisfying about working your way through a bunch of levels all at once with no delay. Having the added tension that limited lives and continues bring to the table gives the game much higher stakes. And I can play as Mimi! Yay! And, of course, Story Mode is strictly a single-player experience, while Challenge Mode allows you to bring up to 4 friends to the party. I know this can slow the game down, which seems a little counterproductive, but I've always loved this as a way to introduce people to the game, and it's amazing fun if you have other people who are into Monkey Ball around. The extra levels that you get after beating one of the difficulties without losing a life, or in the case of Expert without losing a continue, are also back. And although the beginner mode ones are all recycled from the story mode, the higher difficulties hit you with some original stuff for your efforts. Beginner mode also just throws 10 floors at you in a row, too, instead of the scant 3 that the OG gives you. It's interesting that the amount of extra floors you get per difficulty doesn't scale up anymore. It just gives you 10 every time. Something I forgot to mention in the last review, but I've already brought up briefly this time, is the practice mode. I used it much more in the first game because the story mode negates a lot of the functionality, but basically, once you've played a stage in the challenge mode, you can practice it as many times as you'd like in practice mode. It's good for really mastering the intricacies of the most difficult stages so they won't trip you up as much in your future runs. But hey, if your friends are getting bored of the normal mode, you gotta remember, this is Super Monkey Ball. If you want to play multiplayer, you want to play the party game. Holy shit! Not only have the minigames from last time been grouped with the other party games this time, meaning that we have 6 side games from the first title, but the number has actually doubled, meaning we have 6 more, meaning we have 12 party games. Ah! I guess let's start with the games from last time in that case. First up is Monkey Race 2. Okay, look, I didn't give Monkey Race a fair look last time. Monkey Race is hot garbage. So I'm going to talk about it a little more in detail this time. I'm not really the biggest fan of the original Monkey Race. It tackles the traditional kart racing formula, except, you know, with monkey balls. Unfortunately, the physics of Super Monkey Ball don't lend themselves well to this type of game mode, and I find myself getting thrown out of the course way too often. The items only serve to make things more irritating, if I'm being honest, although the fact that one of them turns your opponent's ball into a cube is really funny. Wouldn't be the last time we'd see Super Monkey Cube! It's on the GameCube, it's even better. It's oddly ambitious, featuring 2 courses for each difficulty setting, 6 courses, a Grand Prix mode, and a time attack mode. Monkey Race 2 is definitely an improvement over the first time. There are more courses that feature guardrails, the physics feel a bit smoother, and it's a little easier not to get dead last. However, I will reiterate, the physics of Super Monkey Ball are not built for racing, or oftentimes the prioritization of speed in general. Not to mention the mental adjustment you'll need to make because you are actually tilting your monkey and not the stage. So, Monkey Race is already a tough sell. But on top of this, Amusement Vision has the audacity to stick bumpers all over every course. Was it not hard enough already? Look at these course designs. Even the easier ones with guardrails tend to be fairly unforgiving. You know what I don't like doing in racing games? Falling off the fucking course. Do you know what you do in Monkey Race? You fall off the fucking course! The very first course you have the pleasure of choosing is shaped like a banana. Cute, right? Haha, wrong. Look at how steep these turns are. If you build up any significant amount of speed at all, it's gonna be a mess. This is saying nothing of the lava level, wherein you can fall onto a previous part of the track and you have to repeat a section. That's like 2D Sonic level design, and honestly it's a welcome design choice because it adds further strategy to the track with an interesting punishment, but in a game where the physics themselves are already this punishing, it can get pretty frustrating pretty fast. And don't even get me started on some of these items. Some items, like the banana peel, can leave your monkey paralyzed. How do you get unparalyzed? Rapidly mash the control stick. You know, the thing you move with! Not to mention that half the time you're already going so fast that a paralyzation is an immediate fallout. It's like, why bother? Anyways, Monkey Race 2 is a valiant attempt to fix what's broken, and some players might be able to have a good time with it after practice, but it lacks the immediate accessibility that makes the other party games, and Monkey Ball as a whole, so fun. Next up is Monkey Fight 2, which takes a similar approach to improving Monkey Fight, a party game that was already fantastic.
Monkey Fight 2!
To recap, Monkey Fight is played from a top-down view, and it's all about going around and using your massive fist to knock your opponents into the void. In Monkey Fight 2, the chaotic physics are cleaned up just enough to provide you with an optimal amount of control, without taking away the speed and manic joy of the original. In addition to this, a new move is added to your arsenal. If you hold B, you can charge up your fist and holy shit, big boy fist, that's awesome. This adds an extra layer of skill to the game. If you can land one of these, it's so rewarding. It's like landing a Falcon Punch in Smash Brothers. It just feels right. To go with the improved physics and your expanding Death Fist, we have an improved set of levels. The original game has 3, and strangely, Monkey Ball 2 also opts to go with only 3. Seems like it would have been easy to port over the remaining stages from the original, but oh well. The first stage is the basic one, nearly identical to the first game, but the other 2 stages play with the ideas of walls around the outside of the stage, which can be knocked down by the players. In the case of the amazing Flower Ring, gotta love these names, they activate the other set of flowers, which is a clever gimmick. This one here, Exciting Puzzle Ring, it is pretty exciting. Might be my favorite Monkey Fight stage of all. I always immediately knock down the outer walls, try to go for items, and end up falling myself. Overall, this is a great improvement upon the original Monkey Fight. And, of course, as the cherry on top, just like in the first game, once you win a round, you can use your boxing glove to punch the Wait, my A button must be stuck or something. I can't punch the camera? I can't believe they ruined Monkey Fight. Looks like I'm gonna need to take solace in my old friend, Monkey Target, to heal these wounds. Monkey Target 2's not quite as hard to pin down as Monkey Race 2 or Monkey Fight 2, because I'm not sure I can say that it's a straight upgrade. I wouldn't really call it a downgrade either per se, even though I might have a slight preference for Monkey Target 1. It's just that Monkey Target 1 and 2 kinda have different appeals. There's reasons to come back to both. What do I mean? Well, the core Monkey Target gameplay that we've all come to love has remained the same. You know, roll down a ramp, push A to fly, and then A again to fall on targets for points. The way that the targets are laid out is noticeably different. Obviously, Monkey Race 2 and Monkey Fight 2 have different maps than the original game, but in Monkey Target 2, it makes the most difference, and it changes the feel most of all. These Monkey Target maps are much more linear than their predecessors, where you often had the option of going to the left, right, or center for different targets. distance. Here, the depth of the operation is reduced mostly to whether you want to go for something closer or farther away. Couple this with the ridiculously increased amount of bananas when you fly, and I can't help but feel like they were trying to make my beloved monkey target easier. This isn't necessarily bad, but I can't say I prefer it. I like monkey target with a tad more strategy to it, and while this version doesn't remove that entirely, it definitely feels diminished compared to the original. Some of these changes to make the game more accessible do work for me, however, mostly in terms of what they've done with the items. I like that the items no longer rely on the somewhat confusing tier system, instead just appearing in the sky, being ready to go once you grab them. And while items like the magnet make it substantially easier to land where you want, it actually feels very satisfying, and I don't feel like it eliminates all the strategy. Another big change from the original Monkey Target is the multiplayer, which is now done at the same time through split screen instead of taking turns. I'm mixed on this, and it's hard to say which way I prefer. Having the extra screen real estate on Monkey Ball 1 is incredibly useful, but there's something thrilling about not having to wait and being more directly able to compare results with your friends. I could really go either way with this, especially depending on my mood. I might have to say that I very slightly prefer Monkey Target 1, but this new version offers a lot of interesting changes that make it a worthwhile party game in its own right, not feeling like a downgrade and having a lot of appeal separate from the original. The fact that I favor the original is very much personal preference, and you can't go wrong with either version. Alright, next up we'll talk about the sequels to the 3 mini-games from the original, which are added to the party game banner this time. Fitting change, there wasn't much of a difference to begin with. First up, we have Monkey Billiards 2.
Monkey Billiard 2!
The original Monkey Billiards was already pretty solid fun, but this time around, they get stupid expansive with it. All they really needed to do was port over the original, but now, instead of just the default US 9-ball rule set, we've got Japan 9-ball, rotation, and 8-ball modes added, which shake up the game significantly. I'm still a fan of the default US rule set, filthy American, although 8-ball, also pretty solid. It's up to preference though. I also just gotta say, there is a stupid amount of detail in the background. It takes place in like an old west monkey saloon, and seeing all the monkeys in cowboy get-ups coupled with the barrels in the corner, retro jukebox, cactus with a face, it's all very charming. If you mess around with the camera too much though, you'll notice that the pool table is just kind of floating in the air. Moving on, Monkey Bowling 2 is similarly expanded from the original. I mean, look, the background actually looks finished this time. Not only that, but some additional rule sets are offered, those being 9-pin rule, special mode, and strike rule. 9-pin mode is the same as normal mode, except that whoever set up this bowling alley dropped one of the pins into the never-ending vacuum of space, so they had to make do with 9. That's my running theory, at least. Special mode gives you some kooky variations on the lane with stuff like wavy or bumpy terrain. 3 different levels to it. Kinda reminds me of Crazy Box mode in Crazy Taxi. You guys play Crazy Taxi for the Sega Dreamcast? Finally, strike rule just gives you 20 chances to roll as many strikes as you can. The other big change is that all the characters now actually function differently with different stats. AiAi is the all-arounder, Mimi is slower but has a better curve, Baby is slower and has lower spin but better aim, and Gongon has less spin but bowls at supersonic speed! Sorry. We'll talk more about different characters having different stats later in the series, but in this case I actually think it works nicely. It adds a nice variety to each character without making anyone unviable, so you can still play as your favorite. Monkey Golf 2 is, an interesting one. Monkey Golf 1 is kind of all about keeping the courses compact, you know, pretty straightforward, difficult but fun. Every single hole of Monkey Golf 2 starts with you yeeting your monkey into the goddamn air and only managing to make it halfway to the hole because every single hole consists of a vast green void filled with nothingness as far as the eye can see. It's a little different. Monkey Golf 1 is kinda trying to be mini golf, while Monkey Golf 2 is big, hulking, manly man golf. Regular golf, but with monkeys. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but this is way less fun. Monkey Golf 1 is a game of careful thought, whereas with Monkey Golf 2, I always find myself going through the motions. I get close to the hole after mindlessly hitting the ball for a turn or two, and then I either horribly overshoot or undershoot it and end up going way over par. The game tries to help you with the prediction system of where the ball will end up, but it's so hard to hit the ball precisely as hard as you need to. My least favorite part of this game has gotta be making contact with the hole, only to just barely overshoot it. It makes my blood boil. Not a bad follow-up, but it's a definite step down for me personally. Next up is Monkey Boat. I guess they've given up the formality of trying to make the names of the games make any sense and have instead settled on just putting the word monkey in front of other words. Monkey Fight, Monkey Boat, Monkey College, Monkey Student Loans, Monkey Debt, Monkey Homelessness, Monkey Consequences of Late-Stage Capitalism, Monkey Goodbye. Anyways, in Monkey Boat, you row a monkey boat forward by alternating between L and R and... I get what they're going for here. I really do. I really do. If you hit the L button, you go left. If you hit the R button, you go right. And if you alternate, you go forward. It's like a Mario Party minigame. But I just can't get my monkey to go fast enough. Ah! There's items like there are in Monkey Race 2, but they don't really have as significant of an effect. This one turns your little monkey boat into a monkey submarine, which makes you go kind of faster, but I just could not get a significant lead on anyone for too long. It doesn't help that you'll be constantly hitting the walls while making turns on the harder courses. This game mode offers a single race mode, a Grand Prix mode, and a time attack mode. Who is this for?
You lose. Too bad.
Up next is Monkey Shot, and this one's actually pretty good. It's an arcadey kind of rail shooter with 3 difficulties, all with a different level, and it's kinda tough with one person. Not only do you actually have limited ammo and need to shoot pickups in order to get more, but after every 6 shots, you need to briefly do an automatic reload. Once you run out of ammo entirely, you have to frantically scavenge for more ammo by rapidly pumping your A button, which is a clear opportunity for your enemies to knock down a lot of your health. Obviously, if you run out of health, you die. That's how games work. There's a few other power-ups too. For example, one multiplies your points by 2, and another makes your reticle bigger. Once you get to the end of each level, you'll fight a boss. You know when you're gonna fight a boss because they just pile on the extra ammo immediately beforehand. The missiles on these boys will fuck your shit backwards. If you're like me, you'll probably go, oh god, 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 a lot. I honestly really dig the bosses, especially Solgaleo here. My favorite part is that after you beat them, the game just lets you keep on wailing on them. It reminds me of Soul Calibur. This game keeps you on the edge of your seat, and it's pretty solid. This one can stay. Wait, what's that in the sky? It's a bird. It's a plane. No, it's a monkey. Honestly, that really should have been obvious. Do you have any idea what game this is? It's not Super Airplane Ball. Frankly, I'm disappointed that we're even having this conversation. Rethink your life. Monkey Dogfight is a classic Monkey Ball party game in that it consists entirely of balls, no pun intended, to the wall mayhem. You and your boys fly around, basically with monkey target physics, except instead of trying to land on a target, your goal is to knock those other bastards out of the sky. I made a joke about drowning innocent monkeys in the last video, but that's literally the goal of this party game. The monkeys even have little guns. It's so violent, I love it. You can push A to fire a regular shot or B to shoot missiles. You only have a limited supply of missiles, but you can pick up more by grabbing these pineapples. The regular shot is all well and good, but the missiles, much like in Monkey Shot, will fuck your shit backwards. Once your life bar is depleted, all you can do is watch your monkey spiral into the water below. You can pick up bananas to regain some health, but you're only delaying the inevitable. Monkey Dogfight is great stuff, but it does have a little bit of jank to it. There's a lot going on screen at once, and it can be really tough to pinpoint your opponents before they unload 4 goddamn missiles on you at once, before you even get a chance to think, fuck you, Gon. And, as I just touched on, once someone's got you in their sights, it can be really tough to escape before they've shot their monkey load all over you. Sorry, never again with that. It is a little bit harder to introduce to friends than games like Monkey Fight or Monkey Target, which have more of an immediate appeal. Regardless, there's still a lot here to like. 3 stages to choose from. I have a special preference for the one with a day-night cycle, and a survival mode that can either be over in an instant or get ungodly competitive. Monkey Dogfight is another solid addition to the selection of party games. Monkey Soccer is fine. You can pick a couple different types of teams. Normal, offensive, defensive, and handicap. Honestly, it's pretty hard to tell the difference between them in practice. Monkey Soccer proves to be kind of an exercise in button mashing. It's kind of fun, but there's no mechanical depth, and half the time it feels like you have zero control over how the game's gonna play out. Honestly, I'd probably say the most interesting thing about it is the scenery, which is very nice. You can play this one as a singular match, a whole tournament, or just the tiebreaker game on its own if you've worn out everything else this game has to offer. Lots of potential for fun with a group of friends, but definitely not a first choice. You go into this one after you've worn out some of the classics. Now, Monkey Baseball, that shit's cash as hell. This is baseball, you know how it works. One person plays defense, all pitching and whatnot, and the other person is the batter runner boy. 9 innings of that. There's a few twists here. Rather than sending the ball flying into the air, the game is played on a flat table with monkeys throwing themselves into the bat, and whichever one of these little sectors you land in determines how many bases you get to run across. You can still get launched into the air for a home run if you hit one of these ramps. At the beginning of each person's turn, they actually spin this wheel to determine what the board will look like for them. Lots of variance can occur as a result. All the high numbers could be either left or right. The whole board could be outs except for home run ramps. It shakes up the game a lot. This one's even fun to play against the computer. It's just so good. Finally, to round out the selection, we have Monkey Tennis. Quite possibly the most standard tennis game I have ever played. It's simple, it functions well, there's not a ton to say about it. You can play either singles or doubles, and I much prefer doubles, probably because I kinda suck at Monkey Tennis. Oops. Well, either I'm bad or the AI is really good. Then again though, sometimes the AI is completely incompetent for multiple turns at a time, so I don't know. Another reason why I prefer doubles is that, with more people, playing Monkey Tennis reminds me of playing tennis with my family.
I'm gonna go up front.
No, I'm in the front, you stay in the back.
Okay.
We need balance, we need a clear understanding of who's standing where.
Right.
Actually, I changed my mind, you stand in the front, I'm going back.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
You get pretty standard control. Analog stick moves your monkey, and the A, B, and X buttons all do a different kind of hit. It's fun to try to lob the ball with X, but your monkey takes a bit too long to really recover from it for it to be viable in a lot of cases. The game is just deep enough to offer a pretty fun experience, especially with other people. There's a good amount of content too. 3 levels with different bounce height, a good amount of customization with how many sets and games you want to play, and the option for a tournament mode if that's your sort of thing. Pretty decent stuff. So, among the 12 party games offered by Super Monkey Ball 2, 5 of them are really good, 4 of them are perfectly serviceable, and there's only 3 bad ones. Combined with the classic challenge mode from the first game, there's potential for a lot of multiplayer fun here. And when you take into account that you've now got an expansive story mode, offering a more robust single-player experience than the first game, this game improves on its predecessor in nearly every major way. The first game offers enough unique content that the second game can't simply replace it, but if you're only getting one of the 2 games, the choice seems obvious. Super Monkey Ball 2 is often viewed as the peak of the franchise, and for good reason. But if the franchise peaked at the second game, what happened afterwards? Why doesn't anyone ever talk about any of these other ones? Super Monkey Ball Adventure? Banana Blitz? 3D? Well, since very few others have covered the majority of these games, I'm going to make it my goal to give each one a fair shake and maybe start to understand just what changed that caused this franchise to end up forgotten beyond the first few titles. It might take me a while to get through everything. There's a lot of games and I want to cover other stuff in between, but eventually I want to get through the entire franchise. Next time I cover the Super Monkey Ball series, I'm going to be talking about Super Monkey Ball Deluxe for the PS2 and Xbox, and hopefully we can start to understand more of the history of this franchise. Thanks for watching. I've been Jonii, and you guys have been awesome. Peace.